Hello and welcome to John Wayne Lied to You, the storytelling podcast featuring me, John Wayne. First name, John Wayne, all the way insane. Yes, that's right. We're back again here this week in Wayne Manor. This fine morning, this crisp Houston morning in the Library of Evil with a fine pipe of Grandpappy's medicine, a good old coffee again. Feeling fine, feeling good this morning. It's finally gotten a little chilly here in Houston. For those of you who don't live here, it doesn't get cold that often, or even when it does get quote unquote cold, it's not cold like people who are used to cold, like people who live in places that have actual seasons. It's not like that. It's cold for us though. But what I will say is we do have our times. What a time. We're just 2 days ago, I woke up to snow all over the place. Now, not a lot of snow, not like inches or feet of snow, but snow nonetheless was on top of everything. It was a white morning, pre-Christmas come morning or something like that. But yeah, it was, and of course, as usual, the city loses their mind. I didn't pay attention to the news or anything, but I know there was some wrecks that actually kept me from going to work that day, because the freeway was shut down for quite a while by where I was going to be on. But I'm sure schools were closed, blah, blah, blah. People were out throwing snowballs around like it was the best thing ever. And it's fine. When snow happens, it's cool. It's exciting. I just don't get excited about stuff like that very often. I was born in Pittsburgh, so I did see snow. I was only there till I was 6, but, I remember snow and it's fine and everything like that. But, I just don't get excited by things like that. I don't know. Does that mean I'm dead inside, or, maybe I'm just like, oh, all right, snow, that's cool. Now, thrill me now, world. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Could be. But anyway, we're getting a little chilly here, and I like that because I get to wear jackets out because I have several jackets. Kind of a jacket whore, if you will. But yeah, I've got a new leather jacket that I've been able to wear out lately, and I've been liking that very much. So bring it on, Mother Nature. Keep it cool so that I can justify buying all these wonderful jackets and wearing them. Thank you. Anyway, aside from that, it's been a pretty good week. Light work week. It's kind of slowing down as the holidays approach, so I'm having a lot of time to work on stuff. I finished writing on a work in progress that I've been working on for the past few weeks, I guess. Started as just going to be like a short, goofy story, turned into like a full-blown 26,000 word like horror novella. So who knows where things are going to take you, kids, especially if you don't write an outline like I don't, apparently. Somebody did, let me see, my friend old Spicoli, give shouts out Spicoli, Josh Spicoli, did ask on Facebook like how many people use outlines or what's the appropriate way to outline when writing something, and I didn't reply on it. I read a lot of the replies, but what I do is just go. I just start. I get the idea and I just start writing, and then I don't outline. I've done outlines in the past. I've used the John Skipp's note card method, but nah, I don't really like to outline. I just kind of go, and I'll take notes as I go. Maybe during the day at work or whatever, or something like that. I'll take notes on the story as they come to me, and then I'll go back and write it. So, so I didn't use an outline for this one either, and I just kind of went with it, and it turned into something pretty cool that it wasn't originally supposed to be. So that's nice. I also got all the revisions done on my current book and sent it off to where it needs to go, and we can talk about that when everything's official. But that was nice to get that completed and revised. And we just other than that, playing a lot of music, having a lot of fun. Went to a Christmas party last night, or holiday party, if you will. I don't want to offend anybody's delicate sensibilities, but so yeah, it's just rolling right along, and here we go. Another week. I've got none of my Christmas shopping done, but I plan to do it this week. Yes, absolutely. So moving along, last week I know I brought up I wanted to start talking about what I was reading or what new books that have come out within like the bizarro and horror genre, and things like that. So I want to continue on with that. I finished this book this week called Gogol's Wife and Other Stories, by Tomasa Landolfi, and this was recommended to me by my future father-in-law, D Dog. Shouts out D Dog Par, who, when I tried to explain Bizarro to him, he said, "Oh, well, like I think it's like this story called Gogol's Wife," and I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "You'll have to read it." So this was like years ago, and I finally read it. But the point is that I did read it, and it's awesome. Like the I read the story Gogol's Wife, which is only about 17 pages, but then I read the rest of the stories in here, and I very much enjoyed this author. He's an Italian author, um, known for like they call him like the Italian Kafka, and he is linked with surrealist and fantasy type writing. So it's cool. It's a little bit more cerebral at times, which is great. Which is as I was reading this, I realized like I don't read enough stuff like this. I don't think, I read all the time and I read a lot of great books, but this kind of challenged me in a way that I liked. So I actually ordered a couple more of his books, and I'm gonna keep reading him and see what I get out of it. I think it's gonna be good. And since I finished that though, I did start another Bizarro book. Excuse me. Called Roxy, by my buddy Christopher Lesko, who I've met at BizarroCon last year. I believe was our first year to meet, and then we've been hanging out since. So this is a pretty cool book. It's about so far a dude that orders a mail order a bride basically, but it doesn't come as a person. You have to build it and put it together, and it so far grabbed me pretty hard and heavy at the beginning. I'm in, so I'm enjoying that. So check that out, as well as any other awesome Bizarro books. If you're into that or starting to get into it, check out, just search pretty much Bizarro Central. You'll find all the links you need to everything that would interest you. Cool. So moving right along. Speaking of reading, we have to get into our tarot reading for this week. The 3-card tarot reading that I do before every show, to kind of set the tone, kind of think about things going on in my life. And this one was interesting, as they've been lately, but this one kind of is a little dark and ominous sounding to it. I mean, it's not all bad, but they can't all be good. So sometimes you need to think about the bad things and or negative things, or just prepare for things. I don't know. Anyway, the first card I got was the Judgment card. Now this calls for a time of quiet reflection. You need a time to come to a deep understanding about common themes in your life and what you can do to avoid certain situations in the future. So things that I've gone through, I would say that look at things that have problems that have arose along the path of what I'm trying to do, and of those things that I could have helped or prevented, put thought into that, and like, yeah, let me think about that stuff. So that's what I got from that. It says you're close to reaching a significant stage in your journey. Be true to yourself and your needs. Getting close to the point of taking action. You understand what you've been through, and you've learned from that. Take comfort in sharing these experiences with others. And I wrote another little note to myself, like, see back to where last week, all the readings kind of tied into like sharing advice and knowledge with like-minded people that will benefit from it. So I kind of wrote a little note to myself about that. So this isn't all bad per se, but it kind of alludes into the next bit of the reading here, as far as talking about, think about these common themes, think about these pitfalls. How can you avoid them in the future? You're close, you're getting there, but you're not there yet. Like shit's got to get real for a little bit. That's what I take. Next card, 5 of Swords. Okay. So this can mean you're disagreeing with people and isolating yourself. Uh, it's about conquest. For me, it's conquest. It says if you're being aggressive in your struggles to reach your to accomplish your objective, uh, you will accomplish it, but there's more work and problems ahead than you're aware of. Your aggressiveness just kind of pushes you forward. You're not really concentrating on those. I feel, and you're just plowing forward, which I can definitely relate to. Um, it means that you're very ambitious. It says, but in a negative way, without regard for consequences to yourself and others. So that again, what I just said, like yeah, I'm barreling on. I'm ambitious, but how how far can ambition go till it gets to be a bad thing? It says focused on staying winning at any cost, you may discover the price of winning is not worth the reward. Another thing, think about what am I what are you doing to win? What what choices do you have to make? What sacrifices? What I don't know. Is it gonna be worth it? According to this, if you live like that, I guess it won't be worth it. It says it reminds you to not get arrogant. You will conquer a goal. You've conquered a goal, and you should be proud, but don't let it go to your head. That's something that I like to think I am pretty good about. I definitely do not let things go to my head. I definitely do not drink my own Kool-Aid, but I do spend very little time celebrating my own accomplishments. Maybe I talked about that last week. I know I talked to my therapist about it, but yeah, and maybe I need to like say like, okay, that's good. I did that, and acknowledge it and let it set in, and be happy about it before I just push it off. So I know. See, these things are tying in every week. I think uh, the force is strong with this one. It says to pick your battles wisely rather than challenge every person who disagrees with you. This is very significant to me. I know that in my work life, like as far as like when I worked at Starbucks and stuff, I liked to say, I pick my battles. I'm not, I choose what hill I'm going to die on. There's a lot of shit that's not worth arguing about with people. So I was very good about that. In my personal life, I'm not as good because I get passionate about what I'm saying, I think. And if I get challenged, I have to really stop myself from getting super defensive or trying to, argue my point to somebody when it doesn't really matter. That's the thing I have to do. I have to realize that I can't get defensive and I can't argue every fucking point with people, friends or otherwise, or relationships. With Katie, she will say I often will get defensive, even though I try not to. I mean, that's like my daily goal. But it's hard. It's hard not to when you're passionate about what you're talking about, or it involves something you're passionate about. It's tough, but it's definitely something to take some stock of, and try to improve for myself at least. And then moving on to our last card. This is a card I did get a couple weeks ago. The Three of Swords. This represents rejection, sadness, loneliness, heartbreak, betrayal, grief. Again, as I said, it could be preparing you for these things. They may be happening in the future. Um, you can mentally prepare for this thing. It says the pain that you'll experience is a motivator and a learning opportunity, and can help you grow. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how I took this card last time, but this time I don't necessarily want to think all gloom and doom about it. Um, you know, something that's happening in the future to mentally prepare for. It could just be going back to the other cards in this reading. Maybe it's more about like thinking about the reflection of the things that have cropped up that have been detractors, or forms of resistance, and mentally preparing to, circumvent or not go through that same path again on your journey forward. Um, and this is saying that you've already learned. Pain is a motivating learning opportunity. You already learned from this. Now think about it and don't do it again as you go forward, because now the path is different. Now it's harder. You're moving on to something else, to a new level. I guess that's what I'm getting out of this. So I don't take this as a bad thing, even though these cards kind of were a little gloomy. It's just something to think about, and it's something to tie back into the more positive readings that it completely relates to. So anyway, there we have it. More thought provoking readings about life and La Bamba and Richie Valens. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't know. A lot. Anyway, so we have another story this week, and boy, this one's fun. I just kind of remembered this one. I've told it or it's been a grown up storytime story, but man, this is actually about me going to to a live podcast, which is actually one of the podcasts on this network, the Mockingbird Network that I'm on. It's called The Stacks. This was a few years back when The Stacks was at a record store called Heights Vinyl, and an evening that I attended one of these live shows, and I might have gone a little too far that night. This story is called "Why You Trippin'?" Okay, so The Stacks is a podcast here in Houston that's a live show featuring Ned Gale, Ruth Hirsch, and Josh Brokaw. All very good friends of mine, also members of Micro Satan. We've worked together on a lot of things, but this was a few years ago before we really started working on a lot of stuff together. I was just kind of like getting into their podcast, and it was at a place called Heights Vinyl record store. It's really, actually pretty cool setup for a podcast. And you would just come up there on Thursday nights, like around 8 o'clock. The shop was still open, but people weren't like, it wasn't like packed with people, it was people in there to watch the podcast. You bring your own beer. It was good. It was great. I met a lot of cool people that are my friends now just from going to this podcast. So I enjoyed it very much, and it was a nice thing to look forward to. Lately, this show's been kind of like bebopping and scatting all over, looking for a new permanent home, I believe. So, just stay tuned, mockingbirdnetwork.com, the Stacks, and or follow them on Facebook if you want to get into it. I don't even know where they'll be next, so there you go. But at this point in time, they were at Heights Vinyl. Now, this is a few years back when I worked at Starbucks, and I worked at Starbucks for a really long time, like I said. So as far as like vacation time that I was granted, I had a lot. I had 5 weeks of paid vacation that I got in the last few years that I was there. And I'm sure you're like, holy shit, that's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome, but it's like they give it to you, but it's almost like a cruel joke, because there's really no time for you to take 5 weeks off in a year, being a store manager, because there's always shit that's going on that you have to be at, and it's hard to work shit around in life. Anyway, I thought it was a huge pain in the ass, and that time does not roll over to the next year. So after the next year, it starts over. So you don't get to like, well, now I have 9 weeks, or no, it's just gone. So I decided I was going to take cash in some of my vacation at this point. It was a Thursday. I was off that day. I took Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe like the next 2 days of that week off or something. It was a nice little chunk. I was gonna have just a staycation, work on shit, be away from work for a while. So it's Thursday night, Stacks, boom, I'm off. I don't even have to worry about going to work in the morning. I can party as hard as I want. I can drink, I can stay out late. It's gonna be great. So to start the evening out, I meet up with my friend Connor Clifton. Shouts out Connor, from Micro Satan and many other things, and he's a awesome dude, and I love him. And we met at Rudyard's to have a couple beers before we went to the Stacks. We were going to the Stacks together, and then after the Stacks, we were supposed to go to Avant Garden, which is another bar and venue over in the Montrose area of Houston, and they had Dollar Wells, I believe it was. Yeah, it's Dollar Wells that night. Yeah, so we were gonna do the Stacks. Connor was the guest. We're gonna do that. When it's over, then like a group of us that are gonna be there go down to Avant Garden and drink dollar drinks all night. Woo! It's gonna be great. Starting off my little mini vacation. So we have a couple beers um, at Rudyard's, and then we stop. I get a 6 pack of Lone Star Tall Boys on the way to the Stacks. As I said, bring your own beer. But you know, Uncle Johnny's got to just push it sometimes to the max, and I brought some mushrooms with me as well. Not a whole lot, maybe like a gram, maybe a little more than a gram. So it wasn't gonna. I know it wasn't gonna go like super deep, but I was like, yeah, man, you know what? I'm gonna have a good night. I'm gonna just gonna this should do me good. I'm gonna go balls out deep, balls deep, shaft deep, whatever you want to say tonight, and I'm gonna have a good time at the Stacks. So I ate these mushrooms probably like when we got to the record store. We got there a little early, so we're hanging out. I think I ate them in my car before I got out to go in, and another person that rolls up who I've never met before, who I believe also was on the show that night, is a dude named Brian Ziola. He is an awesome, very hilarious comic, one of my favorites. Shouts out Brian. He used to live here in Houston. He's since moved to Florida, so check him out. But he's always on the road and shit. He's very funny. But this is the first time I met him. And I'm like, hey, meeting him. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm smoking bowls too here and there. I've had a few beers. I'm drinking these 6 pack that I brought, and we start going on with the night. And the night it gets hot and heavy pretty quick. We get in there. The show starts. It's a decent amount of people there. I think for that space. So it seems pretty full. I'm standing in the back, and I'm drinking these beers like this is part of my demise. I haven't eaten anything. I've already had some beers, and then I'm drinking these tall boys like I'm breathing air. I'm just like, drinking. I'm drinking. I realize it is because I started kind of tripping. My mouth is dry. I'm not really thinking about it. I'm watching the show, and shit's getting weird. It looks like there's curtains behind them now and the lights, and I'm just laughing my ass off at Connor because he's very funny and dashing, and so is Brian, and the show's going great. And by the end of it, I realized like I've drank all 6 of those tall boys by myself in that span of that like hour 15-minute show. Um, not good, but I'm still feeling fine. I'm still like feeling fine, but I've got that mushroom brain going on, but it's super, just it's been really fucked up by all the beer I drank, which is not good to do when you're tripping very much. I don't drink a lot, but we go outside, like out in front of the record store. We're hanging out. People are leaving, saying goodbyes. Somebody outside had a joint. Somebody new that I'd met that night. Don't remember his name. You're a saint for sharing it with us, but he has a joint. So myself and a couple other people out there join him in smoking this joint. This was also a key mistake I made. So that happens. We're done. Things kind of start to break apart. The circle. Some people are leaving. Connor's next to me, and he says, "You're still going to Dollar Drinks with us, right?" And I was like, "Absolutely, man." And then I'm like kind of standing there, and things are starting to get weird. And I tell him, "Yeah, I'm not gonna drive though. I can't drive anymore." And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no problem, man. We'll figure it out. You don't need to drive." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I definitely can't drive." And then at that point, I turned around away from Connor, and behind me was a very big potted, like a potted plant, but a potted tree with a big planter that was up to, maybe a little bit past my knees or higher. I don't know. They're big. They're like all down the sidewalk of this shopping plaza or whatever that this record store's in. I turn around to that potted plant, grab the side of the pot, and begin to just vomit into the potted plant, the tree, just vomit my guts out, and then slowly collapse to the ground and lay on my side. Just lay on my side on the sidewalk. And Connor is like, dude, are you all right? Are you okay? What's wrong? You okay? What? And I'm like, I just see to lay here, and I'm done. I'm gone. Like shit's like I could have just slept on that sidewalk all night from that point. I didn't need to move after that. So Connor, he gets the my phone out of my pocket and he calls Katie, my wonderful financier, my wonderful partner in life. Calls Katie. Um, he tells her the situation and says I probably need her to come pick me up. To which she says, yes, absolutely, I'll be right there. So uh, they get me up and bring me inside after basically leaving me out there for a few minutes. I think Connor went inside to try to like explain the situation and get some guys out to help him. So Brian Ziola, who I've never met before, comes out with Connor. Here's this fucked up dude on the sidewalk, and he helps pick me up, take me in. There's a couch in the record store. Throw me on the couch, and we're like sitting there, and they put a fucking bucket in my lap if I start puking again, and I'm like, just sitting there. It's all quiet, and I think I yelled like, "Woo, party!" Right? Am I right? And then I turned down the couch to Brian and I said, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just met you. I know I look like an idiot. I'm just really sorry, man. I'm not really usually like this." And he's like, "Dude, don't worry about it, man. Shit happens." I was like, "I know this is really bad. This is bad, man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." And then Katie walks in finally, and she collects me, and we go on about, but we don't know what we're gonna do with my car because the parking lot is like weird, like customers only. We're nervous about leaving it overnight, so Connor takes uh, a a poster for a show, turns it on the other side, and writes big as shit across this poster, "Please do not tow. I was responsible last night and didn't drive drunk. I will be back by 9:30 a.m. to get my vehicle." And then it had like my name, and I think he put my phone number on there or something. Uh, and then we went home, and Katie's driving me home, and I feel bad, of course. But then I start like then the mushrooms and all like the beer and everything just start turning on me like bad, and I'm like just I can't focus. I feel horrible. Uh, I'm like spiraling out. I'm like, everybody hates me. I'm such an idiot. Why do I do stuff like this? I'm so stupid. I hate myself. We get home. I get out of the car and immediately just fall into the front yard in the grass. Katie has to pick me up and like put her out like I'm on her shoulder, like she's like, saving me from the beaches of Normandy or something. And takes me inside. I drop down the couch face down, and I start crying at one point. I'm shutting my eyes so tight. And I remember Katie was telling me that I kept saying, "I'm tripping so hard." Um, and I don't really think I was. I think it was the combination of, yes, tripping, but all the beer, and just like smoking and then eating like pretty much almost nothing all day. All those are a bad combination. But anyway, I just like face down in the couch. I remember just trying to squeeze my head down in the cushion as much as I could, um, until finally like things subsided and I was able to get into bed. Uh, but then I believe not once, not twice, but maybe thrice I had to get up and go throw up again. Yeah, so then I got up in the morning and made sure that I went and got my car. I felt really dumb and stupid, like you do. My car was there though, And then you start sending out those texts that everyone hates to send out. Hey man, sorry I was so drunk last night. Thanks for taking care of me. Sorry I didn't go to Dollar Drinks. Ha ha ha. And you feel dumb, but you know what? Everyone's fine with it. Everyone's been there and done it. So it's kind of like it kind of made me feel a little closer to those guys. So yeah, it was a good thing. It was a good that I did that. Definitely. Oh, the places you'll go when you make interesting decisions like that. So there you go. Why you tripping? Take a lesson, folks. All that weird combination that I did doesn't usually work out well for you. It might. Maybe you'll be lucky, but I don't recommend it. And I usually recommend anything. But yeah, check out my buddy Brian Ziola. He's a very, very funny comic. And he's out there, like I said, and he's a good dude. So check him out. So that's it for this week. Like I mentioned last week, if you're in the Houston area, December 21st at Under the Radar Brewery, I will be having a reading with some other authors that are very talented. Some coming in from Austin. My buddy, my brother, Kelby Losak, coming in, reading and representing. Just added, this just in. Lucas Mangum added to the roster, the lineup, bringing him in from Austin, slinging that deep horror dick that he's got, and it's gonna be good, folks. It's free. There's beer. There'll be the authors will have their books, and things like that, and it's awesome. It's a great thing to support, and like I said, they're trying to do this, make this a once a month thing where it's all about the Houston arts and surrounding areas. So let's support it, please. You can support me, Uncle Johnny, by checking out my Amazon page, buying one of my books, Death Packs and Left Hand Paths. It's most recently been out. Why don't you pick one of those up, or a Charge Land, or a Porn Star Retirement Plan, an Ant Poster maybe, or how about John Wayne Lied to You, the book that this very podcast you're listening to is inspired by, or vice versa, or the other, one way or the other. It's like one of those snakes eating its tail type situation. I don't know. But yeah, do that, or go to johnwayneisdead.com. You can order right from that, the store on my page. And when you do that, you get it sent from me, and I will sign it up for you and send you some other goodies. Also, it has all my dates on there for any of the readings that I'm doing, as well as all the John Wayne is Dead shows. That's my band with Mr. Chris Jett. We have a few coming up at the end of the month. We'll be doing a blowout end of the year cover show up at Jive, December 29th. That's a free show, and we're going to party hard. And it's going to be great. So, again, johnwayneisdead.com. And also, get on the YouTube channel, the John Wayne is Dead YouTube channel, all one word. Subscribe now. I put the podcasts up there. I put my other videos that I'm doing, but my man Nick P and I are working on something very special. It's going to be coming out very soon, and you want to be subscribed so you don't miss it. So do that. Otherwise, I'm at John Wayne is Dead on Instagram and Twitter, and John Wayne Communale on Facebook. And that's it, I think, folks. Have a good week. Let's read some stuff. And thank you so much for listening. Auf Wiedersehen.
Mockingbird Network.